Welcome everyone back to my new version of the spoiler review section. Spoiler review video now, not section, that I will be doing from now on. If you've been here before, you know the drill. So tell the newcomers to come in, pull up a seat, sit down, and let us talk about Artemis Fowl and the Arctic incident. That is what we're going to be talking about. Let me get a little closer to this microphone so you can hear me better, okay? See that? I can, yeah, you can see that. And I'm picking out, okay? Picking out a pimple. Leave me alone. My face is okay. You don't know my age, try to guess, and I bet you'll guess wrong. Anyways, this is by Ian Colfer, which I want to say, it's Owen. Owen Colfer. His name is Owen Colfer, but it doesn't spell out like that, okay? This is a series. It's called Artemis Fowl. If you didn't know by the title, Artemis Fowl and the Arctic Incident. So here we are. Artemis Fowl, teenage criminal genius, is back, and there's trouble in Fairyland. Goblin gangs are planning an uprising exactly as bad as it sounds, and it looks like they've had human help. Polly Short is convinced it's Artemis Fowl. But for once, Artemis is innocent. He's been getting his father back from the Arctic Circle, where the Russian mafia, also very bad, are holding him prisoner. All Artemis has to do is clear his name, beat two massive criminal organizations, and avoid freezing to death. At least it'll get him out of the house. And away from boarding school, or school in general. School, la la la. Dun 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 dun. Okay, so you have Artemis Fowl II. That's actually his official name, Artemis Fowl II, because his father is Artemis Fowl. We'll get to him in a little bit. He actually shows up, if very briefly, and if for not very long, and if for just cameo appearance's sake. He is the mastermind boy genius, is the central character and anti-hero of the series, renowned for his exceptionally intellect and cunning. His discovery of the existence of fairies set off a series of adventures showcasing ingenuity and resourcefulness. Fowl's remarkable abilities include fluency in various languages, including the official fairy language, Gnomish, and extensive knowledge in psychological gleaned from numerous textbooks. He possesses an exceptionally high IQ, surpassing that of most psychiatrists in Europe. And what sets it off in the way that it does is that in the very beginning of the book, he is talking to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist asks, "Whom do you respect?" And at the end, he's like, "No one." And at the end of the book, he just asks the same question. He's like, There's a few. I've got a general idea now of who I respect." So in this one, he actually is completely innocent of the scheme because he is trying to get his father back from the Arctic because he receives a message, and he tries to go to the Arctic but gets pulled to the fairyland, gets back up, tries to go to the Arctic, pulled back down into fairyland, and then finally goes back to the Arctic to rescue his dad. So it's a very arduous journey that he has in this book. He does a lot of stuff, and most of it is just trying to get to the Arctic to get his father back. That's literally all it is. Sorry, I'm yawning. Anyways, you find out whose butler's real name is when you search this stuff, because it doesn't tell you his name in this book or the previous book, but I have figured it out because I was looking for certain things. And it is Domovoy Butler, who serves as Artemis Fowl's second dedicated bodyguard. Wait, that's a good question. Who is Artemis Fowl's the first bodyguard? And why wasn't he there to protect him? Did he die? Because it was that the ship that went down that Artemis Fowl first was on, he was the lone survivor. But what happened? How did his butler die? Anyways, continuing a long-standing tradition within the Butler family lineage, dating back to the Norman conquest. With a formidable physique, standing nearly 7 feet tall and weighing 200 kilograms, he possesses the deep blue eyes characteristic of his lineage. And his sister, or cousin, or something, Juliet Butler, is the one who works for Angeline, his mother. Butler, of course, actually gets knocked out in this and rescued by Artemis and Holly. Twice. Actually rescued him twice. Because of how things go. So that's kind of interesting. But he does put himself in danger, and Butler's all like, oh my god, how am I supposed to keep you safe if you keep putting yourself in danger? Captain Holly Short is a prominent female elf in the Artemis Fowl series, serving as a LEP recon officer in the Lower Elements Police Reconnaissance Division. Why they have that sentence like that, and why I even left it like that is really weird. But LEP recon literally means Lower Elements Police Reconnaissance. Standing exactly 3 feet tall, Holly's diminutive stature is considered advantageous for fairies. She is known for her talkative and sarcastic demeanor with distinctive auburn crew-cut hair, hazel eyes, pointed ears, and nut brown skin typical of her species. By the events of Artemis Fowl, the Arctic incident, Holly is approximately 80 years old. Notice me, she is the first and only female officer in the LEP Recon. And though she does things unorthodox and not in the correct way, she still gets stuff done with minimal problems. Like, you see her doing a sweeping thing. I don't remember what it's actually officially called, but she does do this whole thing where she's supposed to be, reconnaissance only with, what's his name? I don't have it. Private Chicks Verbal. And Verbal is hitting on her, and she's like, shut up and all this other stuff, and he gets in trouble because of the goblins trying to fire at them so they can get back to their spaceship, and she goes in and rescues him and almost gets fried to a crisp because of it. But she saved her comrade and herself and was able to do what she needed to do. Figure out information. So, yeah. And she agrees, reluctantly, to help Artemis retrieve his father in the radioactive area that is called Russia. They have abandoned it because of how much radiation is in that area. So, there's that. And I have one of the villains of the story. Briar Cudgeon. His first appearance in Artemis Fowl as a power-hungry officer within the LEP Recon. Okay, Cudgeon aligns with Opal Kobay's Orchestra Rebellion against the LEP en route. Utilize a goblin gang named the Batwa Kel. They launch an assault, which is thwarted by Artemis II, Butler, Holly Short, Root, and Fully. Exposed by Fully's revelations of his treachery, Cudgeon meets his demise when Kobay launches her hover boy at him in a fit of anger, causing him to fall into a plasma surfacing hatch where he is fatally electrocuted. Of course, he was, because of what happened in the previous book, his face was messed up. And of course, this guy's got like a major flaw about how he looks, and it devastates him in a way that is odd, in my opinion. So, yes, there is that. Okay, and at the same time, he's like, I want to take over both worlds. He wants to take over the lower elements, and he wants to take over the mud peoples, and rule it all. And of course, he wants to betray Opal after it happens, because he doesn't want to share. He's mean. Alright, you have Mulchdickens. He's technically a villain, but at the same time, he helps out. So, he's like one of those villainous heroes, I guess. He is discovered living in luxury in California, earning the moniker The Grouch for his free chance for stealing Academy Awards. Why? They don't explain why. He's just doing it, okay? Despite his criminal inclination, he aids Artemis and his allies in infiltrating Opal Kobay's lab before evading capture once again. Of course, he made a deal to have a head start in invading people before Root came after him to arrest him. So that's what he did. He literally did what he made a deal with. Get into Kobay's lab, and you would have a couple days head start before we came back to catch you and throw you into the slammer once more. Foley. He is a Centaur LAP. He makes his debut in Artemis Fowl as a character known for his sarcasm and paranoid tendencies. He firmly believes that human intelligence agencies are monitoring his transport and surveillance network, leading him to wear a tinfoil hat to prevent mind reading. Except it does not work for him when it's Opal Kobai setting implants and technology and cameras into his areas as well as into their weaponry, which can disable them and make them useless for the uprising, and makes him out to be the one who is doing it all as a traitor. Okay? Due to his vital role in keeping fairy technology ahead of advancement, Foley cannot be dismissed from the LAP, but he was almost considered a traitor, an enemy, and treason. His adventures proved instrumental in aiding his friends such as Holly Shore and Artemis during perilous missions, which its butler and root out of a trappings of ice at the Biwakel put them in. So yay for that. He was actually the fog off for Quadrin and Opal because Quadrin was going to come out the hero who got the traitor who was trying to do the rebellion with the goblins. But he was able to do that by using Artemis Fowl's laptop, which had recording capabilities. So he recorded Quadrin's whole revelation of how he was doing what he was doing and how he would also betray Opal, and that's why Opal attacked him. Yeah, he made sure they knew. So Artemis Fowl the First, father of Artemis Fowl, the one we know and love, okay, is depicted as a wealthy Irishman with a reputation as a criminal mastermind. When he disappears in Murmansky, Russia, before the events of the series, he was trying to do a legit business with Coca-Cola in the Russian area, which is really weird. He was trying to go legit because he knew his businesses as a criminal mastermind were not going to stand up forever, and he wanted to make an honest man out of himself and his family. So that's why he got his ship destroyed by the Russians, and he survived and became a hostage, which they did not do anything about for several years. And he also lost a leg because of it. It prompted a search that forms the central plot in this one, but was the reason why he wanted the money. In the first one was because he was going looking for his father, and he needed money to be able to mount rescue missions, as well as heal his mother from her depression that she had from her husband's missing. Okay, you have Trouble Kelp. He's actually quite good at his job. He initially was introduced as the LAP retcon captain in our South series. He grapples with persistent pestering of his younger brother Grub, who is also limited. Despite the challenges posed by Grub's antics, Trouble remains committed to caring for his sibling and prioritizing the well-being of Grub and his other siblings above his own. Renowned as one of the most distinguished officers in LAP, Trouble's dedication and selflessness earned him numerous accolades throughout his career. He literally put them above, hey, we need to get from this building to that building so then we can retreat because we need to protect everybody. We need to do the police department where we're a little more able to protect ourselves. And he literally puts himself on the line to run across a place that's being shot at to do so. Yay, he does it. He's good. I like him. Although why he named himself Trouble Kelp, who knows? Opal Kobai is a narcissistic pixie genius and the primary antagonist of this book. And of course it says the series, but I don't believe that. But for this book, yes, she's definitely one of the primary antagonists. Using her unparalleled intelligence, she engages in criminal activities. Foley often harbors jealousy toward her inventive ideas and inventions. Kobai's rise to power involves putting her father out of business to establish her own company, Kobai Laboratories, where she amassed her fortune. Literally, she put her father out of business and then absorbed his business and made it all Kobai Technologies for herself. So, she could one day rule the lower elements. That's what she wanted. She wanted to rule the lower elements. Okay? So, there's that. Commander Julius Root, often nicknamed Beetroot due to his frequently purple facial complexion when he gets angry, is a commander of the LEP Recon. during the time Artemis Fowl first discovered the fairy world. And in this one too, before its promotion to major, Root was most successful field operative in LAP recon history with numerous exploits involving the criminal dwarf Mulch Diggins and arresting him. I don't know what I was going to say there, but that was not the right word. I need to learn how to speak. It might be that I need to put some stuff on my lips. Anyways, moving on. He actually is one of the ones who agrees to go to the Arctic Circle to rescue Artemis's father, and actually does. Yay them. General Scalene. I don't know if I'm spelling her name right, but I don't really care. Is a significant character in this book, surviving as one of the commanding figures of the Bequacal, a notorious goblin criminal organization involved in illegal smuggling activities. She is introduced in this one, where he is flattened by Opal Kobai and Briar Cudgeon with the exaggerated title of of General. Under Kobai's manipulations, ground, a gang are drawn into a plot to seize control of Haven City. Thus, they smuggle human manufactured batteries into lower elements to power their soft-nosed lasers. Those things. Which are used in the assault on the city. Following the rebellion's failure, she is... I don't know what happened to her. Oh, I forgot to read that throughout the series, Cudgeon wields a customized soft-nosed Red Boy blaster in an successful attempt to destroy Koba. So, I'm going to assume she's in prison. Anyways, let's get to Private Chicks Verbill. An enormous sprite with wings and green skin is introduced in the later part of the first book in the series and is in this one. Verbill, like all sprites, has wings, green skin, and loves to fly. He displays a romantic aspiration towards Captain Holly Short, attempting to flirt with her during a surveillance shift, which lands him getting shot in the wing, which of course she had to heal in order for him to be able to fly again. Pay attention to what you're doing. Quit flirting with people. She's not going to say yes. She doesn't like you that way. Okay. And there were a couple mafia people that aren't really all that worth mentioning besides the first one, which is Mikhail Vasikin. He serves as a member for the Russian mafia, and he is one of the two individuals tasked with guarding Artemis Fowl the First at an apartment where they get news that, hey, we're going to need you to go to the Arctic Circle to learn about to do this and do this exchange, and where you're going to have to kill all these people. And then he is moved to that place where he actually gets tricked with fake money to allow Artemis Fowl to rescue his father. Of course, his father gets thrown overboard, and they didn't expect that, so he did go into the water. But he's safe. That's all that matters. My favorite character was Artemis, because he plays a psychiatrist, but in the end gives him an answer, proving he changes as the series moves forward. And I'm wondering how much more he will change, because it's only the second book out of 8, I think there are. My most disliked character was Cudgeon, because he wants the death of many and control over both the lower elements and topside, which is the mud people. And I'm a mud person. What stood out as memorable was for all of Opal's smart, she could not spot deception when it was staring her in the face. Why would you believe Cudgeon didn't want to deceive you in any way, shape, or form? I don't understand, but it happens, alright? Okay, so, yes, I realized that I had not actually written down my favorite passage from the story or my favorite quotes, so I had to pause you guys to be able to do that, but now we're back, so here we go. So, my favorite passage from the story is a good thing I started in here, because if not, I would have just picked some other ramble thing in here. Artemis was expecting puberty to hit in approximately 8 months, and he suspected that at that point, he would look at Holly in a different light. It was probably just as well as she was 80 years old, and I felt Hilly instead of Holly because I was not looking as I was typing this up just a few minutes ago. So, Artemis knows that puberty is coming, and Artemis also knows that eventually he will look at women in a different light because of puberty. And he's like, I'll probably look at Holly in a different light, but right now I don't. It's just good that she is over 80 years old, because why would I want to be with an 80-year-old? So fairies do live a very long time, so I mean, who knows? maybe they can hook up. Maybe 80 years old is just that of a 20-year-old. I don't know the equivalency. Do you? If you do, let me know down below, okay? If you know the equivalency. So, my favorite quote from Artemis is, "Thank you. I owe you everything. Because of you, I have my parents." Which is what Artemis' goal was for these first 2 books, was to get his parents back, his mother and his father. He got his mother back in the first one, which was thanks to Holly and her Mesmer. And now thanks to Holly and Root, he got his father back. So now he has both his parents. And that means, to be a criminal, he'll have to avoid both his parents in order to be able to do his criminal activities. Who said a genius mastermind like him was going to stop just because his parents were around? So yeah, there's that. That's what I think. Honestly, there's 6 other books. Obviously, he doesn't stop, but a lot of it does deal with Holly and the lore elements, which is interesting to read about the expanding of that world. And I don't know why I'm yawning still. I don't know why I'm yawning, guys. I don't really know. Hey, what I thought about the ending of the book. I'm happy that Artemis got his father back, and not surprised. He wants to hide what he was doing from his father as well as his mother. Holly Root are fine. Good thing. I'm so glad that neither of them died in this excursion, or that anything bad happened, because Holly did have a finger cut off, and a lot of her energy was sent to heal Artemis by accident, and so she was able to get her finger back thanks to Artemis and the little acorn that she had in dirt and emergency. So yay on that for both of them, because Root almost got exploded by all that lava and magma flare. Bully, not labeled a traitor. He proved that he was not, because he did recordings, which is what makes him smart, not dumb. Okay. What book did it remind me of? Honestly, it literally just reminded me of the first book in the series. But I guess if you really want to, it could remind me a little bit about the How to Train Your Dragons. Pick up an Artemis. They're a little alike. Okay, they have a lot of expectations heaped upon them that they have to work around, and everything. They're just 2 teenagers trying to live in this world while trying to keep their parents around. Yeah. This book, as you know, is part of a series called Artemis. I cannot speak, guys. I'm sorry. You'll have to forgive me. I don't know how to say words right now. Artemis Fowl, okay, is part of a series called Artemis Fowl. And it is 8 books in the series. I rated this a 4 because of how interesting the story panned out. But honestly, I'm trying to gather up my thoughts because I don't have this written down, and you guys don't want me to be all rambly and all that stuff, because whatever. I thought this was going to be more about him being in the Arctic Circle, trying to get his father back from the Russian mafia, but it was really more of them him being in the lower elements, trying to stop a goblin uprising from happening, with Kujin behind it. So it had less to do with the Arctic Circle, so I don't know why it's called the Arctic Incident, and more to do with the lower elements and Opal, Kobai, and Kujin than anything. So it was not exactly what I was expecting, but it was actually better than what I was expecting, because honestly, reading about him trying to get into the Arctic Circle would have been interesting, but this would have made it a little more struggles to actually even get there and find his father. That's so. I will see you guys. I will see you next illusion.